Really happy to be here with a team of Cryptees. As everybody knows, we invite people building on top of Needle X to speak here with the community so that everybody can get a chance to understand a little bit more about each project. Would love to get an introduction from each of the team members.
But my name is Joe Fitzgibbon. My alias is Schmo. I am the Customer and Partners Relationship Manager for the Collects platform, which includes Collective and now Cryptees. And my day-to-day is kind of working with artists and customers.
My name is Dima Polyak. My alias is Testicles, and I work closely with Joe and a lot of folks in the community, and head up a lot of the community initiatives across Collects, Cryptees, and Collective.
Hey, I'm Chris. I'm based in Germany, so for me it's like 11 p.m. I guess we're spread out across the globe now, but that's why it's just Herr Hana. Making clear where I'm from. I'm VP of BizDev for Collects overall, so I basically, get to meet all the interesting people and make sure that we get projects off the ground and find partners to do what we do.
Awesome. And could you share us a little bit more about Cryptees?
Yes. So Cryptees is actually a passion project, and it's kind of part of what got me into Collects. Cryptees, in a nutshell, is connected. So it's basically turning crypto art and fashion into wearable collectibles. So with Cryptees shirts for now, you'll be able to wear your favorite crypto art on a t-shirt that is a high fashion item. So it's a properly designed t-shirt as an item, from fabric to feel and touch. And it comes with an NFC tag in a label that basically links to an NFT. So what you do is you buy an NFT, and with that, among other things, you can redeem a physical version of the t-shirt and then wear the art outside and basically verify, and authenticate the shirt with an app that we've built to prove it's real.
Got it. Awesome. Okay, yeah. So it's NFT fashion, but for the real world, right? Like at first I thought, oh, is this for an avatar online? But it's actually for you to wear offline. Is that right?
It's everything, man. So basically, what you do is you'll buy an NFT, and what you get is you get your access to the artwork, so you can download the high resolution artwork. You get a 3D model of the T-shirt, so that you can render it for whatever virtual universe you want, and then you can redeem it for the physical version. So basically, you in real life can rep your favorite artist, but then you can also rep the artist on your avatar. So it's basically both, and we're connecting both worlds through fashion.
Awesome. Okay, got it. So Cryptees you don't build the art yourself, you partner with different artists.
Yes.
Cool. That's awesome to know. Looking forward to see. Do you already have a line that's open or that's public to see? Any links that we can drop while people are listening to the call?
Yeah, I mean, right now the easiest one is cryptees.gg. It gives you the countdown, but then also it gives you the Genesis drop. It shows you the artwork on the T-shirt. So with Dario De Siena, it's the Third Eye from a Third Eye collection. It's a piece. So you can basically, and it gives you a little bit of information on, the tag and the quality of the shirt, and shows you the artwork. And I got to tell you, so I've seen the prototypes because we've been developing it. The colors are insane. Like, the artwork is just fantastic. I can't wait to wear one.
Yeah, I would just add, for those of the folks that are familiar with Dario's work, he's very well known for like this kind of abstract, very colorful kind of cross contrast. And so when you do visit, cryptees.gg, for the drop that's happening next week on the 10th, you'll essentially get a sort of taste and feel for that. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
Awesome. Is this your first drop, the one that's happening on the 10th?
Yes, that's the Genesis drop. That's going to be the first one.
Oh, wow, amazing. That's super exciting. Cool. Okay, and how does Collects get into the picture then? Maybe this is a question for Joe.
Yeah, so Collects, basically, we're a technology-driven company. So what we'd like to do is we consider ourselves innovators. So we come up with an idea and we think, how can we improve the space? You see that with our trading cards and our collective marketplace for NFT art. And now we're moving into fashion. So Chris is kind of taking this idea where, people love the idea of like hybrid items. So like with a physical and digital component. And, one of the things, we see a lot when we go to these conferences or, wherever, the NFT crowd is following, that there's a lot of representation on shirts, right? You'll see like Board A hoodies, you'll see all this kind of representation. But we thought what would be cool is like, hey, like, would you be able to scan somebody's apparel, right? Scan their hoodie, scan their shirt, and see that they actually own that Bored Ape, right? Like you are able to verify that you're not just piggybacking on the kind of the scene. And it also comes down to being like a flex play, right? Like, oh, like I have the alien punk, right? Like, how cool is that? So we took that idea as at Colex, and we branded under Cryptees, under that brand. And then we're working together with a lot of these artists that we've already connected with on the collective NFT marketplace. So we're launching with Dario. He's going to be our Genesis drop, and we're also working behind the scenes for t-shirts for other artists as well, including Baka Arts and a few other ones. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, giving those all up right away. I don't know, Dima, you want to add anything to that?
I mean, look, yeah, you covered a lot of ground there. I would just say, like, the sentiment of what Collex is doing is we're really making a lot of this tech more accessible, and really extending across different sort of medium in collectability. So, where we've got a number of esports, collectibles, and then you've got art and crypto art, which resonates, and we're all kind of passionately collecting. And now we want for people to be able to really kind of wrap and extend that into the physical space, yet also maintain the integrity and the limited nature of how collectible those things are. I'll give you an example. This Genesis drop we're doing is really super limited. It's only 200 pieces.
Yeah, awesome. Dima, would you care to tell us about the community around Cryptees right now? Are these fashionistas? Are they NFT collectors, investors, etc.? What kind of fervor are you seeing right now?
Yeah, I mean, let me bounce this back and forth with Chris here, but I will just say, a lot of our community are really passionate art collectors, and they really love how, like the limited crypto art, and things that are really low circulation. And then I would say where we're seeing impact, and maybe Chris, you could comment with some of the things that you've seen there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's really interesting to see who kind of reacts to these. And let's say NFTs first of all, right? Because initially you would think, okay, it's an NFT, and you get a 3D model, you get like digital art, and then you can redeem it for a physical shirt. So you would initially think it's made for a crypto native audience, and that's true, to a certain point. But then whenever, like, basically everyone I showed this to, and that's part of it is the art, because the art just looks fantastic on the shirt. But I can see that there's so many people who are interested, who are into streetwear, or who are just into like cool shirts. And now people started creating wallets because they want to get one. And again, it's a limited edition, so we're not talking about millions of people. But when you start showing people prototypes and we're walking through the concept, it's a lot of people who are also just interested in the tech because they love the concept of, oh, wait a minute, like you connect a digital item with a t-shirt. Right. And if you look at Colex, what we did with, our esports vertical, where we do the trading cards, right, physical and digital, then that technology powers the DC multiverse, physical and digital. I'm old, and I always love to have a physical component. And when I walk around with a prototype, show this to people, like a lot of people get excited about the possibilities that the technology will enable. And I mean, there's so many use cases, that we can already think about on what we can do with this. But, as Joe said as well with the art, like we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. There's a lot we can do, and there's going to be a lot of use cases, we're probably going to experiment with.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, staying on that topic for a bit, where do you see this going? What are you most excited about?
I'm really excited, to be honest, just, by having the opportunity to build this, because as I said, I really love the connection between digital and physical items, and I really wanted to build something with fashion. I'm not fashion native. Like I have a background in esports, and I'm a media person. So, I built a media outlet for the esports industry before I came to Colex. So for me, it's something completely different to start looking at fashion, build something in fashion. I'm always driven by technology. And I believe that if you look at the, crypto and NFT space overall, I think that gaming is going to be a huge accelerator just by the pure nature of how the industry works. But then, connecting the experience, that I can get by wearing a physical item, but then also I can have the same thing in digital worlds, or I just have some cool crypto art. I think what excites me is the opportunities that we have with this and what we can build. And if, I mean, I can't get too much into details now, but when we're looking at all the conversations we're having with people, um, you know how people like just build, right? Web3, everyone builds on each other, and people come up with new ideas, and then you just sit there and have coffee and you brainstorm, and then somebody else builds on top, and you end up somewhere completely differently, than where you started the conversation. I think that's what really excites me, because everyone is in a mode where they want to build, and I mean, yeah, we're gonna probably do some very interesting things with this, hopefully.
Yeah, that's amazing. Speaking of that, why fashion? Given your esports background, why fashion, and what kind of amazing stuff have you seen or could be built on top of this fashion NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, I can give you one of my beliefs, and I don't want to talk too much about gaming, but it's coming from the gaming industry. So just so you can understand where my head is at. Back in the days when you were a gamer, you weren't really cool, right? And when you had when you wore too nerdy stuff, like people almost would like look down on you. I think that's fundamentally changed. And I have two beliefs. I do believe that if you look at how people buy skins and how people customize the avatars, even in games, and however you define the metaverse for yourself, that's where it's going to hold true too. People will want customization and, build the avatar. And so I basically look at this, right? And people always feel like, oh yeah, we're going to bring kind of fashion into games, and we kind of bring, Louis Vuitton into League of Legends and do all these things. But I also believe that there is a huge opportunity in, taking the fashion out of the games onto the street, where you can now wrap it. Like if you wear a World of Warcraft t-shirt by now, you're not as nerdy as you probably were 10 years ago. So I think the interesting combination is, hey, how can we take digital things into the real world? And when we look at fashion, how can I mean, take Dario, take the piece, for example. It looks amazing, and now you can wrap it in the real world by wearing a t-shirt that just looks cool. And I was wearing a prototype, and I had random people come to me and tell me, oh, I like your shirt. And I don't think they were crypto native, and I don't really think they were from the industry, right? And I didn't even think they knew what it was at all. But it's just by, oh, I like that shirt. And I mean, that in itself is just validation. So I believe that, why fashion? Because I love the idea of taking something from the digital space and make it wearable so you can wrap it in the real world.
When you choose to rep something, and where you choose to, to wear something that is meaningful to you, and sort of, I think like a lot of us are really passionate about technology, and a lot of us are really passionate about how pushing the boundaries in the creative space. And of course, that's kind of where the affinity for some of the crypto artists comes from too. You start to follow and you start to become part of that community. And when you start to be a part of that community, you have really no way to represent that community. And so when Chris to me speaks about League of Legends or speaks about World of Warcraft, when you wear that, you're not wearing, a shirt of an orc. You're wearing something that represents what that community stands for. And I feel like we have an outlet here with what we're trying to do with Collects and also with Cryptees, is to really extend, how we stand out and stand together as a community in this very new space that we're all kind of, in, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I was gonna ask you as well, Dima, how do you see NFTs and crypto art and real world wearables really colliding? Do you think it ends with just a shirt and wearing a shirt, or is there something more? What are you excited about with this?
Yeah, I mean, look, folks are starting to experiment with IRL passes, and right now, obviously, you can gain access to physical events if you have an NFT. But man, you could, I think, that's just the beginning. Obviously, I mean, you could literally have an authentic, an authentic shirt, that is identifiable with its digital twin, with an app, and you can really start to. You can start to see access and physical access and actual items, physical items having utility in the real world, and that's kind of exciting.
Awesome. Okay, cool. We got into a bit of a tangent here. I will ask the other questions as well. Speaking of Dario, Chris, who is Dario De Siena?
Well, I mean, for most people, he's probably known as the crypto artist, and for his Minds 2.0 collection. But he's an artist from Switzerland. He had exhibitions before. And I can just, if people don't know him, you should really go on Google right now and look him up. He's an amazing artist. And, even before we started talking about Cryptees, I own one of his pieces. And, we had him on the collective drop as well. And all I can really say is like, you got to see the art. Like, it's really hard to explain, but he had solo exhibitions, for him, like physical exhibitions, not in the digital space. But it's just amazing art. And this Dima, elaborated before, really colorful, like looking at the contrast, like, I don't know, I just love it. So I'm really happy that when we reached out to him, for Cryptees, and we asked him, hey, do you want to come on board? Do you want to be the first one we do this with? Right. And then he kind of gave us artwork for this. I mean, it was a no-brainer. And we were all like really happy, and everyone's excited right now that we, get to do his, the third eyepiece on the t-shirt, because it just looks fantastic. But I probably sound like a broken record by now.
No, would love to double click on that. How did you decide that Dario would be really great for this? And then what happened when you reached out? How did you end up collaborating together?
I think, that's an interesting story, because I think that Mark, our CEO, bought one of his first pieces. And that was even before I joined the company. And then we had a drop, we had Dario's art in Collective as well. So there was this relationship already. And then when you just look at, okay, what do you want to wear? What do you want to rep? Like, you want to wear some really cool art. And I think that it was just, a basic outreach, right? Doesn't sound too exciting. I was like, hey, are you interested in this? And he was really interested. And then again, if you look at the piece, it just makes sense, because if you look at the shirt, like, for a second, forget about, crypto, forget about like connected fashion, forget about the NFC tag and all of that. If you just look at the shirt, that is a t-shirt I would wear. And what's funny is, I say that because I typically don't wear white t-shirts, and we decided to go with a white version and, put all the colors on. And I was always like, oh, should we have different colors? And, how do we build this? And then when I had the first prototype in my hand, I'm like, oh shit, I want to wear this. This is really cool. And, it's really just the feeling when you look at it. So it just made sense. And I think if you look at Dario's art, you can see that pattern in his art. So it as we said, it just really makes sense. And, looking at what's in the pipeline, there's going to be some really exciting stuff.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I'm looking at the 3D model right now, and I've been staring at it for the whole call, and I'm like, oh, this is really good.
Thank you.
I'm really curious. Will there be a series, or like, I know you said there's a limited edition, but will there be more designs from Dario and different styles and like a whole collection?
Yeah, I mean, there might, the way we built this. So let's start small. I mean, we're already thinking really big, but we're starting with the shirt that you see right now. That's what it is. We do have other artists. So, I mean, Joe, and I don't want to get, too much ahead of Joe either, but, Joe's working really hard, and we're having a lot of conversations on, getting other artists locked in. And we have a couple of really cool art pieces in the pipeline for this. So might there be another version, with Dario? Yeah, I mean, there might. Are we planning it right now, in a concrete way? No. But I mean, if you look at this, definitely. And if you look at other items, I mean, obviously we're starting. So, we went with the white t-shirt because the colors pop amazingly well with the saturation of the colors. Are we looking into other items? Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I almost, like, not even almost, like, I consider Cryptees, to be a streetwear brand that is, wearable collectibles by crypto art meeting fashion. So, there's definitely going to be more items that will fit that style too. And then obviously Dima can, speak to this more. But we had a lot of people already reach out like, oh, can you do this item? What about that item? Oh, do you have like a boxy t-shirt? And like people asking for very specific items. And I mean, we're definitely listening, and we're definitely looking at, what's possible and what the limitations are. So if you look at the piece, you're probably still staring at right now. That's a high end. That's a high end digital print. And there, I mean, depending on how you put the art on the shirt, right? There's different limitations. So we're kind of, almost building this catalog of things, that we can offer, so that depending on who we work with as an artist and what they want to really put on an item, we can find the right match and make sure it's amazing for everyone.
Amazing. And as you say, high end, could you tell us about the quality of these shirts? Like, it looks super soft in the 3D model, but I'm curious to know, like, in real life, what is it? Just a normal shirt and stuff like that, or how is it? Give us a tease.
Man, like I tell you, this is what I meant with I don't have a fashion background. So when we started designing this, I learned a lot. And I mean, I have help for sure, because I had no idea what goes into building a t-shirt. And when I say building a t-shirt, we're talking about having, so the shirt you're looking at, it's a shirt we constructed, right? So we picked the fabric. So we got, I don't know how many swatches we got sent to just feel like, oh, is this a quality we want, or do we want a different composition of the fabric, right? So we really designed the shirt from fit to style to fabric we used. Like you look at all the labels, we picked the materials for the labels. We really made sure that everything just feels the way that we want it to feel. And when you say soft, it's, and I think we put it on the website too, because it's true. It just feels like a good t-shirt. And obviously I would say that because I'm biased, but let's wait until people get it in their hands, because it is. It's a really good, feel. And you can tell that, everyone who will get one and you have it in your hands, you can tell it's not a, $5 blank, but it's a proper fashion item.
And just to add to the feel of the shirt, when I traditionally think of artwork on a shirt, I think of like a square, like a picture on a shirt, right? And what's really cool about this design is, the whole shirt is a canvas for the artist, right? Like if they want something on the sleeve that bleeds into the front, you can have that. Like there's even parts on the inside or the collar where you can design. Like there's so much flexibility for the artist to design with, that it really shows kind of like how the premium feel of not just like a print on a shirt, right? And what's also really cool is with Dario, you see so much color in his piece. I didn't even try, counting all the different colors, but like the pinks, the purples, the blues, it all just flows really well. But it's just so well constructed that you can see the art as Dario wanted to be.
Got it. It is basically the artist using your shirt as a canvas, basically, right?
Yeah, I'm not even sure if I'm not even sure if I should say this right now, but I can tell you this. So there is an Easter egg, and you could probably see this. And I might even share this at one point. But when we got a piece of art, there was a black dot at a position where it wasn't supposed to be. And when I got a prototype, I'm like, "What is this? This shouldn't be here." They're like, "No, it's in the file." I'm like, "It's not in the file." So I checked the file, and there's a tiny dot in the file. And it's printed on the shirt, and you can see it. So it's such a detail in the printing that even like the tiniest dots, that probably, not even probably, that they were not supposed to be there, get printed. And there's another. I think I put it on Twitter. Like I had a shirt created for my MFer that you probably look at right now in Discord. So all kinds of colors and anything you want to do. And as Joe said, right, so imagine like you get the block as a PDF version, right? So you get the deconstructed t-shirt with all the different parts, and you can put on whatever you want to put on. And, then basically the same way you design the shirt on the canvas, it can be printed and be put together. So what that allows artists to do is you can completely go beyond, what Joe said, like, oh, you have a rectangle block on a shirt, but you can do all kinds of stuff around the full t-shirt. You can, print stuff into the neck portion, right? So you can there's so many details that you can do with the t-shirt that we're even just excited to see what artists come up with, because we can really kind of push boundaries here on how you want to design shirts and what you want to do. And then obviously there's all the standard practices we can do too, right? If you want to embroider things, or if you want to screen print, that's possible too. But it's really about, you can put complex artwork on a shirt. And I think, I'm really curious to see what all the different things that, we're already kind of looking at, and that we get hinted at. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like on the shirt, or whatever item it's going to be. But it's really exciting to just see that artists can really be artists, right? And use it as a canvas and really build something.
It's amazing. I'm literally looking at that 3D model right now, looking for that dot that you were telling me. It's like going around.
You can't see it there. It's an old one. I might share an old picture with you. We fixed it already, but it was just interesting because when I got to the factory and I saw the thing, I'm like, that's not supposed to be here, and it looked almost like a little bit of dirt, right? So I tried to remove it, and like, no, it's an actual dot in the file. So yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, cool. And all right, like if somebody finally gets a hand of this shirt, right? Like one of these 200 limited edition shirts. How does the fit work? Like, will it be made to measure to them, or will they just choose a size and it'll be printed and then sent to them?
Yeah, they will pick a size. So people, I mean, we'll provide a size guide. People will pick a size, and it's unisex. It's a unisex version. So if you're a woman, you probably want to order like a smaller version. And it's not a super slim fit, but it's not a boxy shirt either, right? So I mean, and again, we're gonna give people sizes. So if you want it boxy, you probably order like sizes up. But so you when you buy the NFT, we will walk you through a redemption process and ask you for the information that we need from you. And that's how we get your order and then send it out. But it's made to order. So we're absolutely, and this is probably nice to mention too. We're not into waste, so we don't want to pre-produce, I don't know, all shirts or even more, because we don't know what sizes people want and then trash half of them. But the shirts are going to be made to order.
I don't think you'll have any problem with waste with this kind of shirt. I'm sure anybody will get their hands on this shirt if there are any extras.
Yeah, there's not going to be extras. Like that would defy the purpose of limiting them.
For sure. And what happens if the shirt is lost? Like if they redeem it and then they lose the shirt, can they redeem it again, or that's it as well? Like if you lose a real life one, that's also just you're not going to produce it anymore.
Well, if this was a normal t-shirt, then you're screwed. However, you'll always have your NFT, right?
Fair enough. At least digitally, you'll always have your shirt, even if you lost it.
You can always take it with you into one of the metaverse.
Okay, fair enough.
The first edition might have a message for you in the neck label, and all we can say is like you probably want to listen to that, and you wanna treat it really carefully.
I can imagine people framing this up rather than wearing it.
Yeah, and see that's part of that. So it's very interesting you say that, because that's part of the discussion we're having, right? And I do believe you're right. And if we're looking at the way, and I don't want to look too much into the future, right? But the way we can deliver shirts are I mean, there's different ways. So we can do like we do now. We do limited editions. We can do open editions, of course. We can do auctions, right? So depending on what the artists want, we can have different edition sizes too. And if I would assume that for like, let's just play this out and say there's somebody doing a edition of, I don't know, 10 even only. I'm not sure if I want to open that. And so we know this, and since we're taking things from a collector's angle, I mean, we're already right now putting a lot of thought into, okay, how do we deliver the experience to the collector? Like how can we make sure that if a collector really, doesn't even want to break the seal, can we deliver it in a way that you don't have to, but you can still see it, right? So everything from packaging, we're thinking a lot about how do we deliver the actual experience to the collector to make sure that it's a collector's item. And then if you want to wear it, of course you can wear it.
I'm very excited to see how that works. That's awesome. There's a question here from Meet Angel regarding sustainability, since you mentioned it. Their question was, what will be the nature impact to produce this shirt? Where is it made? What kind of materials, etc.?
It's sourced so materials are sourced in the US, and it's manufactured in the US.
Got it. Okay. Are there any eco or sustainability information that you want to share to the team as well?
I mean, we work with a factory that is really cautious about overproduction. I mean, we put the composition of the materials on the website too, so you can kind of see what that is. But I mean, what we're doing in this step right now is just making sure that everything is produced to order. We source locally, so we and even if you look at other materials that we order, that go into the full experience, like it's all as much as we can eco-friendly, and it's kind of not producing a lot of waste. It's super tough to do. I give you that. And, I mean, we're working on it, but right now it's, we're really happy with where we are.
This is not fast fashion for sure.
It's definitely not. But that also comes from, because we talked about the shirt and the fabric and the feel. I mean, we're still dealing with a collector's item, right? And if you buy an NFT, and yes, you get the NFT and you get the art and you have the 3D t-shirt, but if you redeem it for a physical item and you're a collector, then we need to make sure that you're receiving an item that's worth collecting.
Yes, exactly. So, what is the success in your mind or in the team's mind? What is success for this drop? Like, 200 pieces isn't a lot, even for NFT collections. Um, how will you say yes? This was a successful drop. Let's do 10 of these.
I'll say this: I think we will have succeeded if everybody that got their hands on one, gives really good feedback on obviously the feel of the shirt, the technology working, and I think that'll give us a really good signal of a path to move forward. I know, Chris, you probably have a couple things you might add too.
Yeah, if we sell billions. No, seriously, I agree with Dima. No, I'm totally with Dima. I think, what's success? I mean, do we believe that we can, sell smaller editions out? Absolutely. Are we happy with the shirt? Yes. I mean, this is the Genesis drop. And, while we're really careful with everything we do, I think what I'm really curious about is collector feedback, right? And I'm pretty sure we get some. And even if it's 200 shirts, like there's gonna be feedback, and we're looking forward to that. And we're also that's why I said we're also listening to the community in terms of, hey, what do they want, and what is it really, even art, right? I mean, if I had people come to me and say you should work with this artist, and yeah, we're absolutely open to this. I think success to me is when the processes work and when people are happy with the shirt. Will we reach 100% success rate? Well, I hope so. Is it likely? I don't know, because you always have people that find something they don't like on it, and that's fair and totally okay, as long as it's also communicated in a constructive way. But I think the most important factor for me really is building a way that the collector is happy with what they receive, and in the same way we can support the artist.
Got it. Makes sense. Related to success, now what if it becomes so successful? Meet Angel has a question again. How will you prevent counterfeit T-shirts? I don't think the NFTs will be a problem, but the T-shirt itself. What do you think about that?
I don't want to go too much into the details, but what we do is the tag on the shirt is connected to the NFT, and we store different sets of information. And we have an app, so there will be an app that will be delivered. So you scan the shirt, which then on chain can check whether that's the right tag on the right shirt, linking to the right NFT, and tells you who owns it. So can you basically rip the tag off and try to I don't know, counterfeit things? Yeah, you might, but then once you validate it with the app, and that's why it's important that you can authenticate the shirt, right? So that's where you hit a wall.
Yeah, awesome. Makes sense. What does the roadmap look like? Do you already have a pipeline of artists? Or do you want to try different fashion items? Any sneak peeks that you can share?
Joe, do you want to sneak peek a bit on artists?
Well, I want you to promise that I can have a beanie. I want a NFT beanie. That's what I want to hear from you.
That sounds amazing, actually.
I would have thought you would have gone for a beer holder for sure.
Yeah, an NFT verified koozie. Yeah, nice. But no, I mean, I already leaked Baka earlier today. We're working closely with him. We have another quite a few really big, well-known artists that are in the pipeline. But our focus here is on Dario. We want to make sure that the product is a success, and that the artwork, everything works out. And once we see that success, then we're gonna go ahead and move forward with some of these artists we have in the pipeline.
On items, all I can say is there's a lot of people who like to wear hoodies. There's a lot of people who like to wear boxy T-shirts, and obviously there's a lot of people who it's nice now that here's Beanie's been thrown into this, but there's a lot of people that said like, hey, we like hats. What about hats? And we're talking a lot about different items. We need. I mean, do we have more items at one point? Yes. Are we 100% clear on what it is now? No. Can you expect that there's a hoodie or like a different T-shirt style? I mean, that's what we're working on for sure. But I don't want to go. I don't want to promise anything and say, oh yeah, it's going to be ready next week, because it's not going to be. What we now do is we focus on the first drop. We make sure that we look at all the feedback. We want to get the product into people's hands as quickly as we can. Like, we know once they redeem it. And then we look at feedback. Obviously we have to, verify if all of our processes work, where we can find improvements, how we can make the experience better, and, tweak things left and right. And then we want to just, work with more artists, and that will then also bring different items with it at some point. But it's really, let's walk before we run.
Awesome. Makes sense. How will you differentiate yourselves from like projects that are also doing merch? What do you think is a special sauce with Cryptees, with your merch and people like, or other projects are also collaborating with crypto artists? What do you think your special sauce is?
I could jump into that probably too. I mean, look, we're super early, right? So if we start to call out exactly how we're differentiating, we're probably giving folks, a chance to catch up and imitate and some things, because it's always going to be sort of, folks are sort of following each other, right? But I would say, like, we're trying to be community first and really kind of helping not just helping, but really democratizing the space, and really unconstraining what you can do in bridging like the physical and digital side together.
Just to add to that, I mean, all of the artwork is going to be minted through IMX. So, I mean, we already have this great platform, here where, we're already on layer 2. You can take it to layer 1. We have that versatility in, that gas-free environment. So, we already have a leg up on the competition right there.
Yeah, that definitely hits on the eco side of this. We're gas free here, so that's our save gas. The on an eco side. And Meet Angel's asking some really good questions here too. And I think these kind of have to do with a bit of the roadmap. He's asking, the digital, can it be used on Snapchat and TikTok? I think the intent here and sort of what good looks like is really giving folks a chance to share these, share the artwork, and be it across multiple platforms, or platforms like social, TikTok, Snapchat. I think those aren't out of the realm of things that will be possible. Is that like going to happen day one? Not unless there's some other third-party integration. But I think it wouldn't stop anybody from being able to share those on those platforms if they wanted to.
Got it. This is Meet Angel also asked another question. This is a bit related to my follow-up. What is the difference between original minters and the one that will come after?
I mean, look, if the question is, how, are the folks that mint the first one, are they like OGs? Is there things that are going to be in there? I think, there will only be one Genesis drop that will do. And I think that like any other Genesis drop, it's going to be the most limited, in a sense. So I think, and the beauty of blockchain and what we're doing, obviously with Immutable, is traceability of where that NFT, when it was minted, by whom, that will never be lost. And so those that minted will forever be ingrained on that Genesis drop.
Right. And I think just to add to that, the focus really around is around the art, right? So, this is going to be the first, NFT shirt by Dario, right? That's going to be the first, whereas, the non-original miners in the future for future drops. I mean, the idea isn't to own every single Cryptee that's ever released, right? Like you're going to pick the art that you love, and then that's what you're going to go for, right? But every drop's going to be different, and the interest level that Dario brings to this drop, and having the original 3D render, having the original artwork, and having the t-shirt is going to be something that is valuable for the original minters in the future.
Connected to that question, how do you think it will happen when somebody actually mints the shirt? Let's say they're part of the 200, right? Do you think they will redeem their shirts right then and there, or do you think it will get traded and maybe some of them will never redeem their shirt?
Yeah, it's probably going to be both. But just to be clear on that, so the redemption window will open once you buy the shirt. So I can speak for myself. I'm gonna redeem it immediately because I want the shirt, but I also kind of know what I'm getting. But there will be a window. So because we talk about the built kind of custom build, built on demand aspect. So in a year from now, you won't be able to redeem it anymore, right? Because also we don't want to store fabrics for I don't know how many shirts, right? So let's say people will have I think it's 4 weeks right now, a 4-week window where, hey, you want to redeem the shirt, you can redeem the shirt. So people will always be able to trade it. Can you always trade, the NFT, of course. But if you want the physical item, there's going to be a window, and we will communicate that very clearly what that is. So assume 4 weeks for now, but there will be a redemption window so that, we're not going to be in a position where in 8 months from now, somebody, wants to order a shirt, and we have to go through huge sourcing processes, to just get the exact same fabric. And, we want to, so we will deal with a drop as a drop, and we'll make sure, like, of course, if 200 people redeem the shirt, everyone will get the shirt. That's definitely guaranteed. It's more a matter of there's gonna be a limitation on the duration, that you can redeem the shirt.
Got it. That makes sense. A few last questions before we wrap up. How would an artist, if they'd like to coordinate, how would they reach out?
They hit up Joe or me.
All right.
Or Dima. I mean, like, honestly, if there's an artist who wants to collaborate, just reach out to us. But even, if you see cool art and you feel like, oh, damn, I would wear that on a t-shirt or on a hoodie or whatever it is, we're really open. We're listening to what people have to say. And if there's something, that we should be doing, we're always happy to have a conversation.
I mean, Twitter is definitely going to be our main source of contact. We will also have, a team email, but, whether artists want to, send us a DM or, if some of the collectors, if they have a favorite artist that might be interested in, getting into the space, they could absolutely just tag their artist and say like, hey, look at this tech, look at this shirt, we'd love to buy this from you. And then, organically we would, be able to connect with the artist that would be like, hey, like, this is such a cool idea. Let's do it.
Awesome. Related question, how will collectors give feedback once they get their hands on their NFTs and their shirts?
Same channels, right? I mean, people are typically very vocal on social media. So we're assuming we're going to see a lot there. Or people can always reach out to us individually too. So I'm happy to talk about stuff too. If somebody wants, if somebody has feedback for me directly, or if somebody wants to have a conversation around how we do things, I'm open to having these conversations. But right now I would assume, if people want to provide feedback, it's probably going to be on Discord. It's probably going to be on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure. We actually actively collect feedback on Discord. So you can definitely count on, after this drop, that we're going to keep our ears really low to the ground on how well things are received in our Discord server.
Cool. Okay, that's very exciting. To wrap up, I hear we have a giveaway or something like that. But before that, were there any key takeaways from the team? Maybe one from each of you. Was there anything that you wanted the audience and the rest of the community to take away?
I'll go first. I'll just take Meet Angel, one of her last questions. Will you give away a T-shirt to promote this project? We only have 200 shirts, and we have an allow list that is very close to that number. We have a ton of interest. So we don't want to give away, and we're not going to discount the mint price. And then another question.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Will they have any specific details? Any differences? So for this drop, all 200 shirts will be the same outside of sizing. In the future, we've discussed doing different colors, and a couple other different varieties of how you can mint one. That would make it unique. For those that are listening that are part of our other projects, like Colex, we also work with Hero, with DC items. We always have a collectability and leaderboard aspect. So don't count out us making some sort of really cool mechanics in the background.
Yeah, that was actually Series Alpha from Joe, for everybody that's listening, and talking about colors and different rarities and things like that. So just remember he said that.
I promise. I can just chime into this, right? And it's twofold. So the one thing I want to say is, you asked about what happens if people don't redeem, right? So I mean, we're talking about different mechanics. So maybe there's going to be some incentives at some point for people who don't redeem. I mean, we'll tell people. So don't redeem in hopes that later something's going to happen. But if we include these mechanics, there might be a mechanic where it gives you a benefit. And the other thing is, because like Joe's talking about colors, I'm a gamer by heart, right? And if you, collect sets in gaming, there's different colors, there's different ways to differentiate, different tiers, So, I mean, there's a lot of things we can do, and, we're actively thinking about.
Awesome. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I just want to say shout out to Hunter, who just joined us. That guy's a legend for sure. He's one of our artists.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and looping back to community, I'll kind of end on this. On our Discord server, we have a channel specific for artists. So anybody that has participated in a collective drop, had minted on our platform, we create this channel where these artists can, collaborate and talk to each other and share artwork and all these cool things. And that's just something we're going to build on with Cryptees, right? Is creating that collaboration, giving channels to artists to communicate, give feedback, on top of the channels already for the community.
Awesome, that's amazing. Happy to link to that as well later on at the end of the call. Joe, Dima, Chris, really appreciate you coming on board.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for having us. This was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. Thanks again.